centers by the Boko Haram terrorists near Maiduguri. He added that the commitment of his administration to protecting the lives of Nigerians will not be derailed by the cowardly and indiscriminate violence against innocent people by the Boko Haram terrorists. Minister of Information and Culture Alhaji Lai Mohammed has said his ministry will this month convene a stakeholders meeting as part of efforts to design a framework for the sanitization of the social media. Mohammed stated this when he received the Finnish ambassador to Nigeria, Dr. Jackie Polkinen, and the ambassador of innovation of the Foreign Affairs Ministry of Finland, Jamo Serava, who were on an advocacy visit to promote the ideals of the Freedom Online Coalition. He said the government's response to the irresponsible use of social media to promote fake news and hate speech by some unscrupulous individuals is to work with stakeholders to devise a mechanism to sanitize the social media without stifling press freedom or infringing on the human rights of individuals. Mohammed said government remains overwhelmingly committed to the protection of human rights, both offline and online. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAM, says a total of 1,434,632 candidates have registered for the 2020 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. The JAM said in a bulletin issued in Abuja and made available to newsmen. The board called on candidates to begin the printing of their examination slips from the portal for the optional mock examination, which is scheduled to take place on Tuesday, February 18, nationwide. It reminded candidates that the mock examination is free of charge, except for those expecting to take the examination in computer-based test centers now owned by JAM, who are required to pay the sum of 600 naira. Coronavirus has become a global threat, and alarm has been raised to keep countries with weaker health systems on their toes. Recall that the first of coronavirus was confirmed in China and has claimed more than 500 lives, and over 100 countries have been affected. Pensioners FM correspondent Yetunde Oke sought the views of stakeholders on the issues and what is expected of the Nigerian government. We're sorry, we hope we'll be able to bring you that report later. You're still on to News Around the World on Pensioners 106.7 FM. Now let's talk some labor and pension stories. Oyo State government has ordered the immediate suspension of 13 primary school head teachers, 2 assistant head teachers, and a classroom teacher for extortion and various misconducts. The government issued a directive through the Executive Chairman, Oyo State Universal Basic Education Board, Dr. Nurini Adenero, following an inspection tour of some schools in Ibadan metropolis. Adenero maintained that the government would not tolerate inequity and gross indiscipline among teachers, noting that the board suspended the erring teachers due to established facts met on ground at the various schools they supervised. He added that apart from illegal collection of fees from pupils, the suspended teachers were also found culpable of insubordination and refusal to comply with posting instructions. The suburb chairman stated that the suspended teachers would face a disciplinary committee set up by the board. Oyo State government has announced that application forms for teaching and non-teaching staff into the state service should be obtained free of charge by prospective applicants across designated zones in the state. The chairman of Oyo State Teaching Service Commission, TESCOM, Pastor Akin Alamu, disclosed this in a press briefing at the State Secretariat. The chairman also explained that in Ibadan, the forms could be obtained at the 2 educational zones as well as the state secretariat, while other interested applicants not residing in Ibadan should visit the various educational zones to obtain the form with local government identity card as means of identification. While noting that the recruitment forms would be available till the 24th of February 2020, Pastor Alamo observed the government of receiving any money for the forms and stressed that applicants who claim to have made payment for the forms should go and seek refund from whatever source they must have made payment. The Tescom boss added that 7,000 teaching staff, 2,000 non-teaching staff, and 1,600 security guards and night watch would be employed into the service after the recruitment exercise. The former head of a charity organization has backed 5 years after he admitted defrauding a pension scheme for workers with disabilities and using the money to buy houses in England and France. Patrick McLaury took more than 250,000 euros from the pension scheme of Yetley Industries for the disabled. The charity was so badly affected by the sophisticated fraud that it came within days of closing, leaving service users and staff traumatized. The judge of Winchester Crown Court, Andrew Barnett, described the fraud as an appalling dishonesty and breach of trust before the sentence. United Kingdom Chancellor Sajid Javid is considering a 20% to pension tax relief in his upcoming March 2020 budget, leaving the investment industry worried that higher rate taxpayers will be less incentivized to pay into their pensions. Reports have it that Javid was considering halving the 40% relief currently enjoyed by higher rate taxpayers in an effort to raise an extra 10 billion euros annually for the United Kingdom's strained public finances. But the investment industry has warned that the rumors would create unwanted uncertainty for savers and threaten to reduce the amount that people save for retirement. You're still on to News Around the World on Pensioners 106.7 FM. And now on to some other stories. Kenya's governing Jubilee Party has decided to postpone a meeting scheduled for Friday so that its members can mourn the passing of former President Daniel Arap Moi. As the nation continues to prepare to bid farewell to their former president, Secretary General Raphael Tuju said their party joins Kenya's in solidarity to pay their respects. Meanwhile, the gates of Nyayo National Stadium, venue of former President Daniel Moi's memorial service, have been closed to mourners. The 30,000 capacity stadium is reported to be full, and mourners who have been locked outside are following proceedings from giant screens erected outside the stadium. United States officials say the number of United States troops suffering from traumatic brain injuries (TBI) after an Iranian attack on a United States base in Iraq has risen to 109. The figure is a significant increase from the 64 injured service members previously reported by the Pentagon. President Donald Trump initially said no American was injured in the raid. The attack in January came amid tensions over the United States killing of an Iranian general, Qasem Soleimani. Nearly 70% of the injured service members have returned to their duties, according to the same statement. Heavy rains in New South Wales in recent days have led to hopes that all the bushfires in the Australian state could be out by the end of the week. Parts of the fire-ravaged Australian state have experienced their heaviest rainfall in years. The rain caused widespread flooding, and hundreds of people had to be rescued, including one man stranded in a tree. The New South Wales Rural Fire Service says the torrential rainfall has also extinguished 30 fires, leaving only 4 uncontained. Coronavirus has become a global threat, and alarm has been raised to keep countries with weaker health systems on their toes. Recall that the first coronavirus was confirmed in China and has claimed more than 500 lives, and over 100 countries have been affected. Pensioners FM correspondent Yetidioke sought the views of stakeholders on the issues and what is expected of the Nigerian government.
Coronavirus has been declared a global emergency by the World Health Organization (WHO) as the outbreak continues to spread outside China. Recalls that WHO chief Tedros Adhanom said the main reason for this declaration is not what is happening in China, but what is happening in other countries. The concern is that it could spread to countries with weaker health systems. Coronavirus are types of viruses that typically affect the respiratory tract. They are associated with the common cold, pneumonia, and severe acute respiratory syndrome (SARS), and can also affect the gut. Most coronaviruses spread the same way other cold-causing viruses do, through infected people coughing and sneezing, by touching an infected person's hands or face, or by touching things such as doorknobs that infected people have touched. There is no specific treatment for the disease caused by the virus yet. However, many of the symptoms can be treated. Reacting, Oyo State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Bello Bashir, said it is presently an epidemic, adding that in the 80s it was associated with acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS.
Coronavirus is one of the hemorrhagic viruses and is presently an epidemic with the outbreak in China. Actually, far back in the 80s, it has been initially associated with the acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, that is AIDS.
A pathologist from London, Dr. Philip Edoa, highlighted the symptoms of the viruses and advised screening of all coming from China.
You cannot put your finger on a specific symptom to this particular strain of coronavirus because it could present just like common cold, and that is what makes it more worrying, because people could come about saying I have a cold, or I have a cough, or I have catarrh. We have a lot of Nigerians doing business in China. I think that as part of our public health initiative, everybody coming from China at this point in time should be properly screened and, if necessary, quarantined.
On measures to prevent the escalation of the virus, Dr. Bashir said the state government has mandated the ministry to put all hands on deck and take proactive steps to ensure absolute control of the virus.
Those measures are there. The port health authorities and so on and so forth to make sure that the coronavirus does not get here.
Some Nigerians also said what they know about coronavirus.
It's not as if I know much about it, but I just saw it on news.
I don't know anything about coronavirus. I don't know anything about it. In fact, I've not heard it go.
WHO, however, advised countries around the world to take proactive measures, identify those infected and isolate them to better treat them and protect the virus from spreading. Yetunde Oke for Pensioners FM.
Meanwhile, China has removed several senior officials over their handling of the coronavirus outbreak as the death toll passed 1,000. The party secretary for the Hubei Health Commission and the head of the commission were among those who lost their jobs. They are the most senior officials to be demoted so far. The deputy director of the local Red Cross was also removed for dereliction of duty over the handling of donations. The two Hubei party officials will be replaced by a national figure, the deputy director of China's National Health Commission, Wang Hengsheng. This is news around the world, still ongoing on Pensioners 106.7 FM. We'll be back shortly with entertainment and sports stories. The United States live television audience for the Oscars fell to an all-time low. Roughly 23.6 million viewers tuned in to the awards ceremony, according to the United States broadcasts ABC. Ratings fell shortly from last year when 29.5 million people watched, amid an industry-wide decline in linear TV viewing. South Korea's Parasite made history, becoming the first non-English language film to win Best Picture since the awards began 92 years ago. And lastly, legendary Brazil forward Pelé is reluctant to leave his home because he cannot walk unaided, his son has said. The three-time World Cup winner, widely regarded as the greatest player of all times, was taken to hospital with a urinary infection last year. Pelé, aged 79, has had problems with his hip for some time and now needs a frame to walk, with many of his recent public appearances in a wheelchair. Pelé scored a world record total of 1,281 goals in 1,363 appearances during his 21-year career, including 77 goals in 91 appearances for Brazil. His health has been a concern in recent years, and he had prostate surgery in 2015 after he was admitted to hospital for the second time in 6 months. To end news around the world, another look at the main stories. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has condemned the killing of 30 travelers by members of the Boko Haram insurgents in Borno State. Kenya's governing Jubilee Party has postponed its meeting so that its members can mourn the passing of former President Daniel Arap Moi. United States officials have said that the number of United States troops suffering from traumatic brain injuries after an Iranian attack on a United States base in Iraq has risen to 109. And in sports, Pelé's son has said that the legendary Brazil forward is reluctant to leave his house because he cannot walk unaided. For any information, please reach out to us on 080-2237-3535 or 081-2188-9462, or visit us at Pensioners House, Agbarigo, Onireke, Ibadan. That ends the news. The news editor is Michael Adeyemo, assisted by Yetunde Oke. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am LAOLU OLATUNBOSUN. Thanks for listening. Good afternoon.
Looking for that radio station that will serve you better.
Best of sports, entertainment, you go know we be master.
Information, education, now we get to make the era.
Enter the place, we set the pace, so you come follow in the race and say